And I just want to say something for the record. I've seen a lot of people online call Hakeem Jeffries Timu Barack Obama. I don't think that's accurate. He is so eloquent and so smart and brilliant. I hope he's leading them forever.
I think I agree with you, Michael. It seems to me that they would really be in a bad place if this individual didn't continue to lead Democrats.
And how in the world could Hakeem Jeffries not know that one of his own members has a different point of view than him?
As it turns out, it's getting hotter in the kitchen, and there is huge cracks. And part of what has happened with all of that is that there are journalists doing journalisming. And Democrats are unfamiliar with this territory.
Alzheimer's doesn't start when the memory fades. It can begin decades earlier, quietly in the brain. Science is advancing to better fight this disease. New tools can help doctors detect Alzheimer's early, when we have the best chance to slow it down. Early detection means more time, more birthdays, more anniversaries, more moments that matter. Let's act sooner, not later. Learn more at pfcdalz.org. Paid for by the Partnership to Fight Chronic Disease.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please.
Keep the faith, hold the line, and own the libs.
It's time for our main event.
Fun Time Friday! Welcome back to the Ruthless Variety Program. I'm Josh Holmes, along with Comfortably Smug Michael Duncan and John Ashbrook, left to right across your radio dial. As always, thank you to the hundreds of thousands of people who listened to us yesterday, where we went through a couple of different narratives. One, that there are a lot of cracks in the armor, which is the Democratic Party, as it relates to a government shutdown, and then just mental cracks.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's pretty apparent.
Yeah, where it's starting to get alarming at some level. But we're going to examine that as as the government shutdown continues and sort of ballpark out where that's at. A lot of yucks.
That's right. It's Fun Time Friday.
It's Fun Time Friday. So a lot of yucks on that. Also, it just occurred to us, and we talked about this yesterday, the Democrats are very, very unaccustomed to having any discussion with a reporter where they're not just being the stenographer. Mm-hmm. And if they actually ask a question about, like, what you're doing, does it make sense? Ill-equipped.
Well, and heaven forbid there be a follow-up where they're asked to clarify their position.
Like, we're talking like basic things they just absolutely can't handle.
They stare at you like one of those people from the uninhabited island that has never encountered life outside of itself. They're like... raising like the stick.
The spear?
Yeah, the spear. Like, they're just so upset. They can't get enough. So we're going to jump right into it. And it seems to me like the leader of Democrats in the House is a good place to start. Because, one, the House has done its job. I have no idea why he has a microphone at all, but he insists upon it. Mm-hmm. And so when he does, we like to take a look at what he has to say. Clip one.
Let me explain something to you. There are zero cracks on the Democratic side.
Well, let me explain something to you, good sir.
Zero cracks on the Democratic side. He hasn't talked to Hunter Biden. And I just want to say something for the record. I've seen a lot of people online call Hakeem Jeffries Timu Barack Obama. I don't think that's accurate. He is so eloquent and so smart and brilliant. I hope he's leading them forever.
I think I agree with you, Michael. It seems to me that they would really be in a bad place if this individual didn't continue to lead Democrats.
And you can tell that he's capable and good at his job, because it's not like you have a lady running around being like, I'm Speaker Emeritus. Yeah. I've created this title.
Yeah. Well, he's got two things, right? He's got the former Speaker Pelosi, who everybody just goes to get the answers around him. Mm-hmm. And then he's got AOC on the other side who's actually running stuff.
Yeah.
Come in my office.
So it's like, let me be clear.
It's incredible.
He's trying to do the Timu Barack Obama, but he's getting shortchanged on both ends.
And there are definitely zero cracks, yeah.
So we were like, okay, zero cracks. So that's the one thing that he's assured us. Nothing else. No strategy, nothing. But there's zero cracks. Like, no Democrats are breaking with their blockade of government funding, despite the fact that it's now getting painful on the American people. We're like, okay, that's interesting. So what about their largest constituency, which is, of course, government employees, and the union that represents them? Clip two.
So is your message right now to Democrats in the Senate, open to reopen the government and then get back to work? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. I'm saying that the American workforce should be at work providing the services for the American people, and in the process, they should get paid because they're just like the rest of America. 65% of America live from paycheck to paycheck. And when these employees are providing the services for the American people, they should get paid so that they can make sure that there's single moms that I've talked to over the course of the last few weeks that need to make sure that they have child care taken care of. They need medication, mortgages are due, they need gas to put in their car to go to work. So, sure, I'm saying that it needs to be resolved, and it needs to be resolved now.
That sounds a little bit different from what Hakeem Jeffries said.
An eloquent spokesperson on behalf of the government employees across the federal government. It turns out there's a touch of a crack. Touch of a crack. I mean, look, this is the biggest constituency that Democrats have in their party. It's government and growth of government and the government employees that it represents. In a union, by the way, they negotiate against you, the taxpayer. They take that money and then they throw it into Democratic politics. So it is kind of a symbiotic relationship. You'd think you'd listen to all of that. And they throw a lot of weight within the Democratic Party. But you've got this guy now, he's like choosing to go out on CNN. They issued somewhat of like a bland Friday statement last week that had all the hallmarks to me of like a union, a key constituency that's like, look, I mean, none of this makes any sense, but I don't. I'm a partisan, so I just want to like float this out there and hope nobody pays attention to it. Well, of course, people paid attention to it because they're looking for the cracks, and we've been assured there are no cracks. And so, but this week the guy's like, no, I'm going to go to cable news with this thing.
Right. Amazing. Right.
So it's out there, right? So we're like, okay, well, does that have any impact on the people who are actually voting on that? Because once again, Hakeem has told us there are no cracks whatsoever. Clip 3, please.
Would you call on Senate Democrats to just go ahead, pass the CR so that won't happen and that you can continue to negotiate?
Well, I think it doesn't solve the health insurance problem, the premium problem. I think what's a very fair deal and is open the government and let's just vote on extending these premiums for a year or more. Well, I don't understand what's so hard about that. And by the way, Senator Thune has offered that, I believe. He said we'll have he offered up a vote that we can actually have a vote on extending these premiums.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm wondering if Leader Thune's press office had him as a surrogate.
Yeah,
because
right.
I wouldn't have changed a word of that if I was in his office. Recall, that was the deal that was offered 2 weeks before the government shutdown. Have a vote on your Obamacare tax subsidies. We'll do that. Just keep the government open. And they all like acted as though, yeah, but we're doing this for the government subsidies of Obamacare or whatever. And pretended like that wasn't a deal that was offered weeks before. This guy.
And for our audio listeners, first off, you should go to the YouTube and hit subscribe so you see the video. That is a Democrat House member.
Yeah, that's Gottheimer from
straight
New
up
York.
saying that, like, listen, let's just reopen the government and let's negotiate. Thune even said he'd put it up for a vote. So, like, let's just do this, guys.
And like the DSA left of the Democratic Party hates his guts.
Oh, yeah.
So when he's eventually removed from office in some terrible primary challenge
from
Mamdani or whatever, just rest assured, Representative Gottheimer, you have a great future as a regional press secretary for the RNC.
That's well said. It seems like a touch of crack there, though.
Sure does. Right? Sure does. And how in the world could Hakeem Jeffries not know that one of his own members has a different point of view than him? One from New York, which is where Hakeem Jeffries is from.
That you would pay attention.
Part of a state delegation.
Well, he might actually be in New Jersey. He might actually be in New Jersey.
It's the same thing, right?
It's the tri-state thing.
But I mean, you've got their most influential group, government employees. You have a member of your own caucus who is just one state away. And of course, we have another one here.
Well, I mean,
but
this is
he not
there's
paying
cracks.
attention?
There's cracks.
You think I think it goes back to our question of the day from yesterday: are they dumb or are they crazy?
Yes.
Is he not able to understand that Gottheimer and the federal employees want the government to open, Or is he just so crazy that he doesn't care?
And we're getting a lot of reports. We talked to a lot of people on Capitol Hill. These are just the people who've chosen to go on cable news. There's a lot more Democrats who are getting very, very nervous about this thing. So, but ultimately, this whole thing rests in the Senate, right? I mean, the House, it's fun. Just from a comedic standpoint, it's fun to talk about because they provide endless clips.
House gonna house.
House is gonna house all the time. But ultimately, it's up to, a handful of Democratic senators to do the right thing. So how are things going for the cracks in the Senate? Let's check out clip 4.
As a Democrat, I am incredibly, I've been disappointed, and I refuse to have a political gamble that's going to put those kinds of food security for 42 million Americans at risk on this. Now, some people might be afraid of the extreme left, but I am not one. I am not one of those Dems.
Oh. Okay, so what he's saying is that there are some people within the Senate Democratic Conference who are afraid of the extreme left. Do you think one of those is maybe the leader of the Democrats in the Senate?
Do you think Fetterman listens to Ruthless?
He might do.
He might, because it feels like he's just saying the last 5 episodes we've done on the Shutdown.
100%. And it's also, he's just shading Schumer on that.
Yeah.
Like, there are some who are afraid. And we got into this whole mess because we knew, and you've been listening for the last 6 months where we've talked about, hey, now Chuck Schumer's so afraid of AOC and Mamdani and that whole situation about being primary, both from a Senate seat and getting kicked out of his leadership office, that he's going to shut the government down without any strategy whatsoever. We've told you this over and over again because he's afraid of the extreme left. Him raising it in a public conversation, that is not a crack. Yeah. That is like the San Andreas fault.
Yeah, right. It wasn't like the question was, do you think there's some members of your party who are beholden to this grassroots activist base? He offers that willingly as the reason why we're in this position we are.
He has adequately and properly diagnosed what is the problem. Right, which it runs far afield from what the Democratic messaging is, which is hard to decipher, honestly, at this point. It was initially Republicans did it, and I was like, no, we just really don't want premiums to go up, which has no affiliation with the government opening whatsoever. It's at the end of the year that all that takes place, and then it was like some deal about Republicans are doing things, and then they got on the ballroom for a while,
and now they're like, sorry, you can't eat, but we need leverage.
We need the leverage. What does Sheldon say about that against Smash? What is it that he's...
Leverage.
Yeah, that's right. Leverage. That's right. It's leverage that they're looking for.
It's our only lever. Remember when he said that at the elevator yesterday?
It's our only lever. So they're looking for the levers, and when you have levers, you get leverage. Leverage.
Leverage.
I just can't get enough of it.
There's no CH in that word.
There isn't.
That's what it just gets me every time.
Yeah. I mean, even if you're going to be the effete New England spokesperson, you should know that there's a G at the end of that.
Right. A G has a definitive sound, as Michael will tell you. Michael is very, very good about it. He knows these things.
His diction.
Elocution.
Linguistics.
So anyway, as it turns out, it's getting hotter in the kitchen, and there is huge cracks. And part of what has happened with all of that is that there are journalists doing journalisming, and Democrats are unfamiliar with this territory. They don't know how to deal with it. And it has come as I think, a surprise to many of them. We're going to get to all of the best of that right after this.
He's Donald Trump's #1 enemy in Congress, Chicago politician Dick Durbin. Now, Durbin has a new scheme. He's doing the dirty work to benefit corporate megastores. Durbin's bill could cut corners on your credit card security, putting your personal data at risk. Big chain retailers and warehouse stores want to inflate their profits, and liberal Dick Durbin would help them do it. Tell senators, say no to the megastores and Dick Durbin. Paid for by the Electronic Payments Coalition.
Okay, so a number of Democrats are getting increasingly uncomfortable by the fact that the Fourth Estate, the esteemed Fourth Estate that hasn't done its job in, roughly 50 years since the passing of Walter Cronkite, that they're starting to ask real questions about the strategy here. The inevitable. Again, we talked about this for months. it doesn't end well for Chuck Schumer at some level, in that he just pushed the entire Democratic Party into what was a box canyon.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way out. They're just going to have to do what they should have done 30 some odd days ago.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like now having to face a little bit of the music with the press, and he doesn't care for it. Clip 5.
Irrespective of the dispute on whether USDA contingency funds can be used for SNAP benefits.
It is not, wait a minute, excuse me. It is not a dispute. It is fact they can use it, and the Republicans say it.
Okay, but there's, only 5 or 6 billion, and it's not cost $8 billion monthly just to administer. I mean, if anything, it will only last.
It does not cost $5 or $6 billion to administer. There's enough money to start feeding people right away. $6 billion's a lot of money, and they're using it for other things. $20 billion for Argentina, hundreds of millions for Kristi Noem's plane. Who are we kidding here? Yes.
What happens once it runs out? If it only lasts 2-3 weeks, you give the tax funds then?
The bottom line is they can fund it just as in 2019, just as in other shutdowns, for a long period of time.
And they...
So what is that issue on this is SNAP benefits, which I think came as a shock to us at some level. What did they say, 40 million people?
Yeah, like 12% of the population.
It gets SNAP benefits, which is a food assistance program that's administered through the Department of Agriculture. But when you choose to shut the government down, well, that money goes away. And what they're saying is that Trump can just find the money. Like, they have no obligation, by the way, to vote for a clean CR that they authored. Chuck Schumer, the guy that you're listening to, authored the piece of legislation that he's refusing to get through and voted for as late as last March, but has voted 13 times over the last couple of years on the same or similar CRs in order to prevent this kind of situation that he's dealing with. So now he's saying, like, Trump should have unilateral authority over the spending power of the American government.
That's the thing. So to me, there were a couple interesting things right there in that clip. It's that Chuck Schumer is in such a bind and doesn't know what he's doing to the point where he's willing to, like, abdicate any authority he has as a legislator of being like, why can't Trump just do this? Like, his party is in such disarray. He is so scared of getting primaried by AOC that he's just like, Trump, could you just do me a solid and just take care of this?
Just please let this off my back.
Yeah, this job of Congress, you just do it, dude, please.
I can't
get these people.
This guy we call a fascist every single day. He needs to just take control of the situation and do it himself.
It's amazing.
Just a real.
And then also for it to go so badly that then, like, you got rank and file senators behind him who are just going to start answering the question.
Yeah. No, I mean, anytime the comb salad gal feels the need to walk up and Amy Klobuchar when you're like, hey, this isn't going well, give me the comb.
Like, do you think you have control over your squad when you've got Klobuchar who just rolls up and starts answering the question? Like, bro, Schumer, you're in a bad situation.
I'm not sure they keep stats on this sort of thing in Congress, but I would be willing to bet that if you looked at the member of Congress who has held the most press conferences over the course of their career, Schumer's name would be at the top.
Yeah. For sure.
Over the course of his career, I mean, this is a guy who every single weekend on Sundays, he's got like a podium in the back of his
That's a true
staffer's car.
story.
He pulls them out. He pulls out a different jersey from somewhere else in New York, and he's like, here's what I'm saying. Here's what I'm saying. And he can't come up with an answer to the question because there is no answer. There's no answer other than, I'm going to open the government. Did you hear how he was trying to change his subject? He's like, oh, Kristi Noem. Oh, Argentina.
Yeah, what the hell is he talking? Is it trade deal is what he's talking about? Argentina?
Right,
What does that have to do with anything?
Nothing. It's just like, hey, why don't you vote to open the government?
It is completely hilarious. I mean, the old saying was the most dangerous place in Washington is between Chuck Schumer and a camera.
Yep.
And that holds true, except for now it's not going well. He doesn't know what to do.
Sure is.
It used to just be yes, Chuck.
Yep.
That's exactly right.
Times have changed. Times have changed.
When he was like, yeah, Obamacare, it's going to take everybody's prices down. It's going to give everybody access to health care. You can keep your doctor if you like it. They were like, yes, Chuck. Front page, Chuck. Right away, Chuck. And then, 15 years later, we show up and they're like, none of that shit was true.
Right.
What do you have to say about it? And he's like,
Right.
It's pathetic.
Right.
And that's
Argentina.
and
Kristi Noem.
It's all Kristi Noem's fault.
Kristi Noem!
And that's the thing.
What does that have to do with anything?
AOC sees the weakness. And
Yeah,
that's
she
what's got
She
him
does
running.
see the weakness. You're right,
She
buddy.
does, but it's not limited just to the people under the dome. Like Kamala's still trying to sell this shitty book.
It's amazing.
And it's amazing because like she's run out of Americans that want to hear the story. Like we've beaten her about the head and face long enough. She's got to go overseas to try to sell this bad boy. Perhaps somebody has some generosity and to hear her story without question. Clip 6.
Wasn't Joe Biden then, to put it on him, wasn't his refusal to recognize his own frailties the reason that you faced a nearly impossible task?
I ran against Donald Trump for president. And Donald Trump ran on a platform that was, in large part, I believe, misrepresenting his intentions to the American people. I do believe that there are a fair number of people that voted for Donald Trump who believed him when he told them that his first priority on day one is going to be to bring down prices. And he didn't. And you combine that misrepresentation of intention with also what was at play in terms of massive amounts of mis and disinformation.
Now, forgive me.
And a truncated calendar in terms of the clock.
I want to interrupt you because
Speaking
that
of the
is
clock.
a world-class pivot, but it is not the question that I asked you, which is about Joe Biden's failure to recognize his own frailties and what that did to you. The question is about Joe Biden. Are you still reluctant to criticize the former president?
In what regard, please?
Well, just in terms of that question.
There's
So
not a thing that
you
comes
went
to
on-
mind.
Would you like to ask? Why don't be more specific, if you don't mind.
Was it Joe Biden's decision, his failure to recognize
This lady's
his
not
own
having it.
frailties in that position that put you in the position that made it almost impossible to win that race?
He was not frail as president of the United States.
We all saw the debate.
We all saw the debate. I do believe that Joe Biden had the capacity to be president of the United States.
Oh my goodness.
Dude, that's the first time I'm seeing that clip. It is mind-blowing.
Yeah.
She's like,
she's so
dude,
dumb.
it's like, you know, on a spelling bee when the kid's trying to buy some time while they're spelling it, can you use it in a sentence? And then
Country of origin.
country of
please.
origin. She's like, could you be more specific? The lady asked the same question word for word, and she was like, wait, what do you mean by that? The lady asked the exact same question again word for word, and then she's like, Joe Biden wasn't frail?
Well, so what I love about it, in her initial answer, she does this stem winder on all the reasons why she lost and why none of this was her fault. And she was like, well, and then you had the flurry of mis and disinformation.
Oh, yes.
And then comes back on the other side with the follow-up question is like, Joe Biden was not frail. He was perfectly capable of being president of the United States. And it's like, how can, at this point, like, what do you have left to lose? Just acknowledge the thing.
And
like,
of all the people to try to push that, it's like, Kamala, you were running because he was frail. Like,
yeah,
It's the only reason you're a thing.
Like, everyone will believe, you know, someone could be so blind that they're like, yeah, well, he wasn't frail. But if you're the candidate who has to jump in because he was too frail, then you can't be like, he wasn't frail.
Also, yeah.
What?
Also, it's like, did you learn the first lesson of dealing with an Englishman? You know, first of all, never get into a fight with a drunk Irishman. Never get into a verbal altercation with an English person. They are raised to talk, okay? That's just the way their society works. And somebody didn't tell Kamala that you're not going to be able to work your way around this British person who can talk circles around you.
And I think fundamentally the problem is the absurdity of the argument that she makes in the selling of this book, right? And in that answer, she's actually contradicting previous answers she's given where she's like, well, you know, I saw him in the White House and he was in command of that White House. I was concerned about his limited ability to actually campaign for the office of President of the United States.
Yes.
AKA, he was too frail to run a campaign. And then she gets into here and she's
not
like,
frail.
not frail at all. And the whole, I mean, this gives away the game of the book is that she needs to criticize Biden because, you know, Team Biden threw her under the bus.
Right.
And we know that they actually hate each other.
Yeah.
But what she can't do is have the liability of not being in the White House and seeing the thing. So she has to create this fiction that's like, he is like the Schrodinger's cat of presidents. He is both capable and incapacitated.
No, it's true, and you see the same thing from Karine Jean-Pierre, where they try to do the both ways things. You got to sell books, so you have to give somebody some information that they hadn't heard before, which is critical in her case of the Democratic party, but then tries to have it both ways in terms of like, yes, he was he was the best president we've ever had. Everything was great. He was totally capable of being president. But I was, maybe a little bit concerned about the fact that nobody else thought that.
Yeah.
And that's like their whole framework is they want it both ways. But if you notice the sliding scale that Kamala's had during this book tour, where it's like he was a great president, he was treated unfairly, and then now the last line of that clip is, I do think he was capable of being president.
Yeah, you see that? Like the new formulation is like, I guess it's okay to say that he was good to be president, but too frail to campaign is the thing where it's like, that's even more crazy to say like, well, the auto pen's good at its job.
I will attest to the fact that he woke up every day with a pulse.
Yeah, no. Capable of being president is where we've landed.
Yeah.
And now that we're in Great Britain, it's
It's
this
insane.
thing. I can't wait till the Australians have a
Well,
shot at it.
it's going to be
I
good.
think that was actually an Australian.
Was it?
Oh, it was?
I think it was
Okay.
an Aussie. I don't think it was British.
I got a hard time.
Well, you're
knowing the
American. You
accents.
don't have to know.
Like,
It's all
whatever.
foreign to us.
It's
Right.
not.
You
It's
know?
not from here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we're not done. So Jasmine Crockett, who's one of our favorites here on the program, she has this thing where she does versions of the first two clips, which are not answering the question and then just sort of like going on attack and saying a whole bunch of things.
Yes, I love her so much.
That are just not relevant, applicable to the question itself, but you just expect a compliant press corps to just allow it, right? Let's check out clip 7.
I believe this will be the week that Congress comes to an agreement here?
I have no idea. I mean, you started off talking about the fact that the president is in Japan. The president has time to do everything but what he needs to focus on. In fact, we heard the press secretary say that his main priority is the ballroom that no one asked for, the ballroom that requires him to destroy historic pieces of the White House. And so it doesn't seem like he's interested.
And that context of the comment from Caroline Leavitt, she was asked if the president was working on any other renovations when it came to the White House, and she was saying his focus was the ballroom.
Amazing that she fact-checked her on that.
Yeah,
dude.
hell yeah.
And she could tell. I mean, first of all, she got her hair did, and she was like all ready to go and psyched up. And she's like, "I'm just gonna drop utter like defamatory like everything about the ball. Like, what did that have to do with opening up the government?
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing. But she just throws it in there, and then like somehow criticizes the president for meeting with world leaders.
Yeah,
and like all
going
these other
abroad.
things. Yeah,
I mean, dude, I am still shocked that Caitlin Collins was like clarified, like, no, you're wrong. That was an answer to a question of, are there any other renovations going on?
Yeah,
like I'm flabbergasted.
So I think this whole segment we're doing here on the show really represents the sort of vibe shift that's going on in media, right? Like their approval rating is in the toilet.
Yep.
They saw what happened, the referendum of not just the Democrats, but also the liberal media on Election Day. These are people who spent the better part of a year before Election Day talking about Donald Trump and putting him in prison.
Totally.
And then he becomes president of the United States. And so they've recalibrated in a way, which I think is obviously helpful, for the American media to, like, I don't know, follow up and ask the question.
I mean, you can only spend so long sucking down falsehoods like a Tijuana hooker before all of a sudden people are like, I'm not tuning into that shit.
That's
I mean, it's only so long. And so there is a course correction. Like, I am fully skeptical about whether that continues, but they've now forced the media because of the illogical argument that they're making currently to do the basics of the job.
Yeah, and they're not comfortable with it because they're not used to doing it. It's not the first time the media has pressed Democrats. Fellas, you remember last summer, I'm talking summer of 2024, when Joe Biden was falling off so badly that the media had to ask Democrats to answer for it, and Democrats didn't know what to do. It was a similar situation. Do you know what the Ruthless Variety program did? We put our heads together and we offered a boot camp for Democrats on how you answer questions from the press because they're not used to doing it.
They can't.
And so I would like to refer back to that boot camp episode. I think this weekend I'm going to go back and listen to it, maybe pull out some of the ideas.
They could use some
And maybe next week we'll offer him
a refresher course.
Yeah, because look, we're magnanimous here. We care about our fellow Americans. We want Democrats to do their best.
We just want what's best.
We do.
But it does lead to a pretty valid question of the day. And that question is, they're having a hard time talking to journalists at all. What's a question that you think is simple enough for your average Democrat to actually answer?
That's so good. That is so good.
Because they're like, hey, you shut down the government, but now you're complaining about the fact that people are having a problem because of that action. Like, do you think you should just open up the government? And they're like,
that's way too complicated.
Ballroom.
It's too complicated to ask them what is a woman.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, dude.
So, like, really, when you write these, you really got to take it to a remedial level.
Yeah.
Like
so anyway, give
Senator
us
Schumer, tell us why you are such a man of action. What is it that makes you such a leader?
I don't think you could come up with something. It's not grilling burgers.
No.
Grilling burgers.
My goodness. All right, we're going to tell you a little about our favorite product here in Z-Biotics. I'm going to have a big weekend. It's Friday. I'm going to have a big weekend.
Halloween
I want to
weekend.
celebrate. You know, we got my wife's birthday's coming up. I'm ready to go. It's Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
Kids are going to have a good time. I'm going to have a good time, too. It's not just for kids. I'm going to have a good time. And before I do that, I always turn to Z-Biotics. Because what do we say about Z-Biotics?
There's no tomorrow without Z-Biotics today.
That's exactly right. And if you're unfamiliar with this product, it's a game-changing product. It's a pre-alcohol drink.
That's right.
That was made, I think, by scientists, Dunks.
A PhD scientist. And everybody thinks that when you've had a big night and you feel not so good the next day, oh, I'm just dehydrated.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is that your body, as it breaks down alcohol, turns it into a toxic byproduct in the gut. And Z-Biotics knocks that right out. When I am delivering candy at the door, I'm going to have the candy. My wife is going to take out the kids. I'm in charge of the kids who come to our house. I'm going to have the candy basket in one hand and Z-Biotics in the other.
That's right.
That is well done and well said. You got to remember to make it your first drink of the night. You got to order this stuff. And when you do it, you got to go to zbiotics.com/ruthless and use Ruthless at the checkout counter for 15% off. Trust me on this. I've had so much feedback from friends, from colleagues. It works, folks. This is not some potion and lotion that you get on Instagram served to you. Like, this is real stuff. And we swear by it here at the Ruthless Variety Program. So you got to go to zbiotics.com/ruthless. Use the code Ruthless at the checkout for 15% off. We should probably do our question of the day.
Yeah.
From last Thursday.
Yep.
Which was a really, really good one. Are Democrats dumb or crazy? We thought it was a fair question. I mean, I don't know how else to...
Pretty simple.
We think a lot about these questions because we know you. We read all of them and we know what you guys interact with. But I don't know how else you can react to what we've heard on the airwaves this week. It has been just a unbelievable cacophony of nonsense. And so it really does boil down to dumb or crazy. So we read them all, and when we do that and you like and subscribe, we always come back to you with the voice.
Okay, first one from Ken Haney. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, Ken. He says, the Dems are not crazy, they're calculating, but they haven't calibrated since the November election. I'm looking forward to seeing a red wave next year, but as the precursor, the wholesale rejection of the Democrats' wish list. This shutdown is going to cost Dems dearly. There's no squirming out of this.
Yeah, your lips to God's ears, Ken. We hope that's true. Comment 2, Dunks or Unks.
Now, this is from Bruce Montgomery. Bruce writes, dumb or crazy? It's impossible to tell. For the same reason Schrodinger couldn't tell if his cat was dead or alive. Alternative answer, both.
Excellent reference.
Wow.
Excellent reference.
I had no idea. I had not pre-read this.
That's good. That's good. Well, like minds.
Like minds.
Very smart people working and listening here.
That's
to
how
the
we
Ruthless
know.
Variety Program.
It's a good community.
And if you were unaware of Schrodinger's cat, that's okay too. We'll explain it to you right here on the Ruthless Variety. Well, Dunks will.
Yeah.
The old man will.
That's right.
Smuggles?
Cultural polyglot.
Comment 3 comes from Mary Claire Bretz. Mary writes, the Dems aren't dumb or crazy, they are desperate. When you are desperate, you become reckless and violent because of despair. They have lost all hope. There's no changing their behavior until they get someone who has sense. So basically, they are toast. That's dead on.
Wow,
That's
is
dead on.
Mary Claire. Very good comment.
Yeah.
I can actually I can see that.
Yeah, dead on.
Because they went through that thing at the end of the, after the election last year, where they were like, yeah, we're clearly doing something wrong. And then they had about a 30-day deal where they were like, yeah, maybe we should not let men play women's sports. Like, maybe it doesn't make sense to be outside the mainstream of every, 80-20 issue in this country. And they kind of then it drifted and drifted and it drifted. And if you were to just take a time machine right to today, back from November, what a whiplash. Because now they're, further out than they all were in September of 24.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, man, it's incredible. So next, the British newspaper made a catastrophic and hilarious mistake when they reached out to a former mayor of New York for comment on a heated race for mayor. You're not going to want to miss this. It's hilarious for many, many, many reasons.
There's some Italian content in there that Smug's going to love.
Yeah. We got that and a whole lot more right after this. Okay, so welcome back. We had teased at the end of the last segment that there was a British newspaper who was attempting to try to interview a former New York mayor. It didn't go that great. Duncan, I think you're the one that found all of this.
Yeah, so this British reporter reaches out to Bill de Blasio. Everyone remembers Bill de Blasio.
Yeah, horrible mayor
of New York.
Mayor
of New York. Reporter wants to reach out to Bill to get comment on Mamdani and the upcoming mayoral race in the great city of New York. He reaches out to the wrong Bill de Blasio, not the former mayor, a wine importer in Long Island, also named Bill de Blasio.
How does it work? They just press 0 on the phone, like the old school thing. But connect me to Bill de Blasio, please. And they were like, yeah, no problem. And the guy's like, yo. Hello, Bill, Mayor Bill.
Well, and the greatest part of this whole story, and this is where the comedy begins, at no point during this interview did the wine importer Bill de Blasio point out the fact he was not the former mayor.
Amazing.
Oh, you gotta love it.
So this cat, if I'm catching this correctly, answered the phone from a British reporter asking for his opinion on the upcoming New York mayor's race. And knowing that his name is Bill de Blasio, at no point recognized that perhaps
this was a goof.
He was like, no, this woman who's calling me is calling me because they just want my opinion on the New York mayor's race.
So this is even more interesting. I'm looking at this right now. So apparently it wasn't even a phone call. It was an email.
Yeah, an email.
And so also this reveals that the Times of London was wrong and the New York Times was wrong when they claimed that this was a Bill de Blasio impersonator.
No, it wasn't an impersonator.
That's the thing. It's not an impersonator.
No, he just
this
called
was
the
someone
wrong
who
guy.
just answered the email.
Yeah.
An email was sent asking his.
That's his name.
He was like, it's an email for Bill de Blasio. We want your thoughts. Bill de Blasio, the wine importer in Long Island, was like, I have some thoughts on this.
He's
Mamdani's a communist.
he's an Italian on Long Island. This guy has tons of thoughts.
So how does this go?
Well, first of all, he had previously met Bill de Blasio, the real Bill de Blasio.
Oh.
This is wine importer Bill de Blasio. I
Yeah.
want to tell this part first because de Blasio had said he had met the other de Blasio once at a 2016 New York Mets playoff game. He said he was asked by security guards who couldn't believe the coincidence. Real Bill de Blasio, former mayor, asks, how bad is it having the same last name as me? De Blasio recalls the mayor asking him. He responded, dude, you're killing me. And I tell that vignette to reinforce how crazy it is that he got this email from the reporter and he wasn't like, the alarm bells didn't go off.
He was
he knows.
They want my opinion.
Yeah. I think he was being willfully obtuse.
He's like, I got it.
Are you kidding me?
Yes.
What I would love to see is, I'm not.
We got to have this guy on.
Maybe he took a screen cap of the email and he texted it to his buddies.
Yeah.
And he was like, wait till you see what I'm about to do. I would love to see the
kill on a
yucks from
text
his
chain.
buddies.
So hilarity of all that aside, I think there's one more level of hilarity, and that is the Italian on Italian violence.
Who could have seen that?
Hey, that's Smug's music.
Yeah. So that's why it's in the show. More from the article in Semaphore. The episode began earlier this week when a reporter for the quality British newspaper, Bevan Hurley, sent a polite email to an email address containing the full name belonging both to the wine cellar and the two-term New York mayor, who spells D-E with a lowercase d and inserts a space between the two parts of his surname, de Blasio. The parenthetical here is, in de Blasio's view...
And this is the winemaker.
Yes.
Is the capital D.
Yeah. The other way that it's spelled in the case of the former mayor is, quote, low-class Italians use a little d.
That's funny.
What a treasure! That is so good. No. Yeah, it's the low-class Italians that use that.
It's not enough that he allegedly is impersonating the former mayor. He then shits on the way the guy spells his name.
Smuggy, you think, is there any truth to that? You spent time in New York.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that's this story, and I'm looking over the highlights from this, and it is mind-blowing, because I remember seeing alerts from the New York Times when they were sending out pieces of this, thinking it was former mayor Bill de Blasio. They were like, former mayor Bill de Blasio attacks Mamdani's proposal. It says right here that the Times reporter Hurley was researching, quote, an article looking at Zoran Mamdani's policy plans and their estimated costs. He wrote, I would greatly appreciate your insights on Mr. Mamdani's ambitious agenda, potential obstacles, and whether the sums add up. This is wine cellar de Blasio understood the situation. Quote, I could have corrected him, he said. Instead, he played along. He used ChatGPT to compose a response criticizing Mamdani's tax plans, in particular as unlikely to raise the requisite revenue. It was all in good fun. I never thought it would make it to print. He forgets that journos are that bad at their job.
He knew what he was doing.
And it says the Times deleted the article from its website and issued a statement claiming that, quote, our reporter had been misled by an individual falsely claiming to be the former New York mayor. Like, this is the other thing. Like, the press is so bad at their job. They're so reviled. And they throw someone else, an innocent man, even though he's Italian, in this case, he was innocent. They throw him under the bus rather than admit they were wrong.
It's like the Trump, and I'm sure many of them are good people.
In this case, he was innocent. Unbelievable.
The rare innocent Italian.
It is a fantastic story. This cat is just minding his own business. He gets a reporter inquiry, he chooses to answer it, and now he's the asshole.
Incredible.
It's just amazing.
It's a guy you'd like to meet.
If we can find that guy, I'd love to have him.
And if you're listening, send us some of that wine.
Yeah, a little bit of wine, Mr. de Blasio.
Mm-hmm.
Big D.
Yeah.
Big D.
High class.
It's the high class Italian.
Yeah.
Big D is where you go. All right. There is another story here in the Variety program about a cop that appeared in court virtually. Well, he was missing a few things. Can we play clip 8, please?
Good morning to you. Can you put your appearance on the record, please?
Yes, Officer Jackson, badge number 3919.
Wait, what?
He doesn't have pants on.
All right.
Look at the judge.
You got to ask the camera, Judge.
You got some pants on?
Sir, they're in the...
No,
sir.
Oh, poor guy. So a Detroit police officer appeared pantsless in a virtual court hearing, leaving Judge Sean Perkins visibly stunned. And you can see that on the clip. He was like, what? Calls him as a witness, and all of a sudden he's like, my God, I'm getting a 50-yard line shot.
Dude, there it is. This is why you subscribe to the YouTube. Look at the face of the judge.
While you're on the YouTube,
Priceless.
like and subscribe, because you're going to get this content all the time here on the Ruthless Variety program. The incident, which took place during a drag racing case on October 27, seems to be a real problem these days, the drag racing and all that. Anyway, I saw the officer calmly admit, no, sir, what he was wearing, not wearing pants.
Incredible. I mean,
feels like something you would think about.
Right. But he was under oath, and he took that very seriously.
But not only that, dude, I actually appreciate the fact he puts a crisp shirt uniform, cop uniform on.
Just ironed it.
Gets the badge perfectly placed. He's got the collar stays in play. Everything's good. No drawers.
Unbelievable.
No drawers. Good morning, Judge. It's like, my God. Guys, God.
Do you have pants on?
No, sir. No, sir. Excuse me. Is there a Pringles can that you have in there? Anyway, listen, we got to get to a good interview. We brought Chairman Brett Guthrie of Kentucky in here. He's got a lot of things on his plate. He's going to talk a little shutdown, but his committee operates in commerce generally, and there's some things that deal with sports betting that we're interested in, leagues that we're interested in, all things that he's been discussing in addition to the shutdown and the day-to-day stuff with energy that he deals with on a daily basis. Check it out. I want to welcome to the program somebody I've known for a very long time. He's a very, very good man, somebody who I think best exemplifies what you want in a congressman. And I've known him for a long time, so I know that to be true. Chairman Brett Guthrie, how are you, sir?
Hey, thanks for that. Thanks for those kind words. We've known each other since you were working for Leader McConnell.
Yeah, I was kind of...
You're an honorary Kentuckian.
Yeah, I know. I was a half pint, I guess, at that point. It was many years ago, it feels like.
Well, long enough for me to be chairman of Energy and Commerce. That's been a while, hasn't it? Yeah. That's what I tell my friends back home. I say, if you let me be here long enough, then eventually... It would be tough for somebody from Kentucky to rise to a chairmanship.
Yep.
They'll all be from... And I love Texans and Californians and New Yorkers and so forth, but most of the Democrats would be from New York, like they are California anyway. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then Florida and Texas would... probably dominate the Republican side, and so it has been a blessing to be here and be chair. We have Hal Rogers. We've had my predecessor, William Natcher, chair of Probes.
That's right. That's right. It's always nice when you have people from the center of the country in leadership positions. They tend to understand things better than the coastal.
That's right.
Well, remember Leader McConnell was saying it was true that he was the only leader.
It was true.
That wasn't from New York or California.
Yeah.
When we had Kevin as speaker.
Yeah, no, Kevin loved that.
Yeah.
I'm sure he loved that. But I think the first time that I met you was probably the first time you were running for Congress on a bus tour.
That wasn't when I got asked to leave the car for talking too much.
Wait, hold on. So I definitely wasn't involved in that. You have to tell me.
We were in Owensboro, and I was running in 2008. The leader was, I don't know if he might have been whip at the time, but he had a security detail.
Yeah.
And so they said, hey, you're going to be in Owensboro. We're going to Ohio County, Edmonson County, and Bowling Green. And so you need to ride with the leader. You show up in the entourage and so forth. So I thought, that's great. Well, I got in the car, and it's a 40-minute drive, and if I was flying on an airplane, I'd take something to read, or something like that. But I wasn't ready, so I sit there, and it's the leader and I, and just started talking. And we go to Hartford. We go to then Brownsville and Edmonson County. And so finally, it was Leanne Bowling, who worked in his field office, came to me. She goes, do you have a way to get from here to Bowling Green? The boss needs to work. Now, the Leader McConnell says that's not accurate, but that is. I don't know why he needed to work. I think it was from me talking, but I was asked to find a different route, a different mode of transportation from Brownsville to.
That rings true. I mean, he was leader at the time, and I was on the bus. I'd already been kicked out of the car at that point, so he lasted longer than I did.
But look at him; he's been a great mentor to me. Yeah. I say that in jest because he's been a great mentor to me. And if you look at where he is and what he did just in Kentucky, I mean, we've had. Most of the counties that I represent when I got elected were Democrat. Now they're almost all Republican. Mm-hmm. And so there were we love having everybody. Mm-hmm. But when Leader McConnell first started, it was a very small percentage. And I think very few people later saw where we were, where he brought us from, where we are. So a lot of people don't appreciate those early days when he was really trying to build the party. I ran for the state senate. He was interested in what I was doing. And now if you look at where we are today, a leader has to be able to make tough decisions and and be willing to spend political capital. Yeah. Which is not what Chuck Schumer's doing now.
No.
It is, but Leader McConnell, and there's some ads in Kentucky if you're home, people running to fulfill a seat, not talking in the most positive light about him, is because he was willing to spend the political capital to not shut the government down. And that started the process that took Kevin out. I don't know if that was the actual reason, but started the process when we didn't shut the government down when Kevin was speaker. And so, leaders have to be leaders and they have to be statesmen. And unfortunately, Chuck Schumer's chosen to be a politician.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's a good transition for us to talk a little bit about the shutdown. Obviously, you all did your job.
We did.
Which seems like, I can hardly remember when you did your job because it was so long ago.
Because we gave them days. So it was, I think it was maybe September 19th or 20th.
Yeah.
Which we gave them another week and a half.
Another 10 days to try to figure it out. And it's a clean CR.
It's It's the CR negotiated with Chuck Schumer. I think maybe Kevin or Mike Johnson before, but it's a Joe Biden era CR. It's the money they're spending, and so I don't know when this is going to end. People say that they want to break a record.
Yeah.
And there's some records you don't want to break.
That is one of them.
I mean, Northwestern lost 34 games in a row. We're approaching 34 days of this. I don't want to sound funny, but there are records you just don't want to break. And I understand this. I got to speak longer than you did on the floor. That's all kind of, I think it's playing to social media.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you, I was in home yesterday, and I did a roundtable with the Spouses Club at Fort Knox. And people are being really affected by it.
Yeah.
It's not just, it's not, I mean, a lady told me, you don't need stuff you don't even, I remember when there was a group on our side that tried to do this a few years ago, and Boehner says you're going to affect people in ways you can't even imagine.
Yeah.
So ladies has a sick child. I get my drugs at Fort Knox, my pharmaceuticals. They can't replenish them because they can't pay their suppliers. And so now they said you have to go to CVS or a place off post, which means I got to transfer everything.
Yeah.
Sits there and takes all of her insurance, goes to another, and she has to pay a copay because it's not on post.
Yeah,
So
it takes your day.
She goes, I know we're going to get paid and we'll get some back pay, but it's never going to replace all the copays and things that I'm not going to get the $46 back I just had to pay is what the number she gave me. And so people just don't think of what, and when Chris Coons is supposed to be the great moderate senator, I heard Catherine Clark when they said, well, this is leverage.
Yeah,
y'all use that word, don't you?
Leverage. As Sheldon.
Well,
Sheldon
the
White
leverage
Club.
they're using, and Mark Kelly, for some reason, has become the face of this. And I saw him, maybe he's running for president, I don't know. But I saw him talking about the Caribbean and why should we put our soldiers in this harm's way with the Caribbean and what the president was doing. Well, that's exactly what he's doing.
Yeah.
And so the leverage, as you want to say, that they're using is a lady at Fort Knox who has to transfer every prescription she has off post, pay all the copays, and then transfer them back when they finally decide to open the government. That's what, when they say that, that's what they're doing.
Are you detecting any uncomfortability from your Democratic colleagues? I mean, it seems to me like everything's moving, starting with federal employees union saying like, all right, you've made your point, enough is enough. And then all of a sudden you get this thing with SNAP benefits and everything else where there's a whole bunch of Senate Democrats who are like, well, what if we just did that? Right? Because that's what they want to do. And of course, that's like makes no sense. It's a clean CR. Just open up the government.
You open up the government. Yeah, they have. I haven't sensed it yet. I mean, I heard Rosa DeLario, who's the leading appropriator, Senate House Democrat appropriator, on the radio yesterday talking. I was listening to the radio. I guess it was on TV, but talking about the president should just spend the money on SNAP, even though he doesn't have the authority to do that. But he should. He can do this. He can do it. And I don't know if she went to a No Kings rally. I certainly believe that she supports that. My guess is she probably did go to a No Kings rally. So think of what we're saying. We're having a week ago they're having No Kings rally.
Yeah.
And now you're having the leading Democrat appropriator telling the president he should spend money that's not been appropriated. It's nonsensical, isn't it?
No Kings. Which one is it?
It's nonsensical. Well, I don't think he should spend it unless we appropriate it.
Yeah.
That's clearly in the Constitution.
Right.
Now, as commander in chief, he has some flexibility. That's a unique. That's what people were asking me yesterday. How can you pay the military and not pay all these others? And one, there's just more flexible money.
Also helps when a guy strokes $130 million check to do it, right? I mean,
but he's as the commander in chief, he has a lot. That's a different role over the military than he is over the rest of the government. We appropriate line item appropriate.
Yeah.
And he just can't move money around just because he wants to. And they had a rally to try to say that he couldn't do that. Now they want him to do it. It doesn't make sense.
It makes absolutely no sense. But one of the things that I appreciate, it's made this government shutdown a little bit strange in some ways because Trump is doing what he can to keep everything as close to normal as possible until funds are exhausted. But also in Congress, you're still doing stuff. Like you guys decide, you're going to continue to work. You obviously have a very powerful chairmanship. I noticed there's a bunch of things that you guys have been working on lately. Like, what are you up to?
Well, our big thing, we did the One Big Beautiful Bill this summer, and so our big task, it was the biggest entitlement reform, at least since the 1990s, the biggest monetarily in history, and it was, and we're seeing all these ads pop up against some of our vulnerable members. We had a lady in a wheelchair who was talking about losing her Medicaid because of the bill. That's not true. That's just inaccurate. we exempted anybody with a disability from being affected by, the only people affected by what we did are people that are illegal to be here.
Mm-hmm.
So when they say that undoing the big, beautiful bill doesn't help illegal people here illegally, it's not true.
Literally the
just
point of
absolutely
it.
not true.
Yeah.
The illegal people are ineligible, and the people that are able. So illegal, ineligible, and able.
Oh,
so if you're able
a
to
work
work,
requirement for able-bodied people.
Oh.
and so
Go
the people in the
figure.
ads are saying they're negatively affected by what we did is just not accurate. That's just not true.
Michael, it sounds like the Democrats found people to be in ads that aren't telling the whole truth.
I'm shocked.
Aren't you shocked by that?
Absolutely shocked.
It's crazy. No, I mean, listen, you've talked about this a lot, Dunks, with the able-bodied, the whole work requirements and all of that stuff.
Well, I mean, there was a referendum on the ballot in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And that off-year election for the state Supreme Court, which is a highly contested race. And unfortunately, the candidate who was sort of aligned with the Republicans lost by, I think, 10 points.
Yeah.
But the work requirement passed on a different referenda by like 70%.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's
also-
clearly something people want.
So you can't talk about it in terms of truth, I guess. Is
Yeah.
the
Well,
point,
we
right?
exempted anybody that's disabled. It's 19 to 64, and so I'm 61. Say next year people decide I need to go find a new job, and who's going to hire a 62-year-old? That'll be next year, not now. Then you can volunteer. You can volunteer at your church, your synagogue.
Or
you
go
can
back to
volunteer for a
school.
nonprofit. You go back to school.
Right.
You just need to. If you're going to get free health care at taxpayers' expense, the question is, as you said, in Wisconsin, 70% of the people say, if you're going to get our money to do this, you need to work for it. And so that's what we did. So what we're working on now, though, I think the big issue of the day, and I think the president was talking about minerals and so forth, is AI.
Yep.
And who's going to win the battle for AI? It's a global struggle. Europe has taken them. We know what not to do. Europe has decided not to compete.
Right.
I don't know if they consciously made that choice, but if you're going to make your energy prices 3 times higher than the rest of the world, if you're going to put the regulatory side on, so that's what we have to get the So people will come to our office and say, we got to battle for AI. We're in this struggle. We believe we have the brain power in America and we have the money. But what we don't have is the right regulatory framework yet. It's patchwork, state by state. So we need a federal patchwork for that. But the number one issue is energy, access to energy.
Yeah.
Bill Gates said a Microsoft data center can use 1 gigawatt of power. And I was kind of new on the energy side of this. I said, that sounds like a lot.
Yeah, that seems
How
like
much
a
is
lot.
a gigawatt? The city of Seattle uses 1 gigawatt. So
Okay.
put that in. You take a data center and put it somewhere. It's going to use the same amount of power as the city of Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to be able to do these things in permit. And so my hope springs eternal, is we can actually do it bipartisan.
Mm-hmm.
You hear a lot of people in the progressive side talk about abundance. And, they spent $42 billion or they appropriated $42 billion for broadband deployment. In 3.5 years, when Biden left office, not 1 inch of fiber had been laid because of all the permit process.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. Their whole view of energy, I hope you can do it on a bipartisan basis, too, because it is the future of our economy.
Well, they're saying the housing prices have gone up because you can't build a house,
Right.
all the housing codes and so forth. I don't know if there's a path, but they realize if they're going to if they want to spend on big projects and you can't get anything permitted, then you can't build. And
They're
so
like,
that's
wait, you're
what's going on.
checking to see if this thing actually happened? Well, that wasn't in there.
How much per charging station did we spend? I think
it was
Whether
like
Jazz had 11 billion and got 7, or got 7 billion, got 11. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Oh,
A
another
handful.
thing in terms of spending, if you want to talk about this, so the ACA tax credits, which is the big holdup, they expire because they made them expire in the Inflation Reduction Act.
They did it unilaterally.
It was in the Inflation Reduction Act.
Yep.
And the reason they made them expire, they'll say, well, we thought insurance was going to come down. We wouldn't need them in 5 years. I've heard people say that. But I think the more real answer is they took that money and spent it on the Green New Deal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when they're standing up today saying, we're here fighting for health care, well, you wanted to spend money on the Green New Deal. So anything in the Green New Deal, and one of my least favorite things in the Green New Deal was Stacey Abrams created a nonprofit.
Oh, yeah.
That in December of
we had Zeldin
24
in.
had $100 in her checking account. $100. I'm not leaving out any zeros.
Yeah.
$100. And right before Biden left office in January of 2025, she got a $2 billion grant.
It's wild.
Her CEO makes $800,000 a year. I don't know. We couldn't trace what she makes. But maybe she shouldn't take a salary off of it. I don't know that.
The end
but
of the
her CEO
Biden
makes $800,000.
The end of the Biden administration was a real Brewster's Millions situation where they're trying to shovel cash out of the door.
Yeah, that's what it was.
But that's for the ACA tax credit. So anybody that wants to look at us and say we tried to reform them actually in the one big beautiful bill, and it was estimated Well, there's about $70 billion of fraud that we believe in there. And then the other thing is, then there's another thing we did that deals with the marketplace. I can get into the details if you want, but it was estimated by CBO to lower the premiums by 12%. So now they're saying premiums are going up 18%. We want to subsidize them in these tax credits by 5%.
Well, it seems like there's a disconnect.
And we say, why don't we just lower them for everybody?
Yeah, it seems like a disconnect on all of it, right? Because, I mean, we've personally experienced, I think every American has experienced the premium increase since they've done Obamacare.
15 years later, look where we are.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. But also, like now, apparently we're at this critical juncture where we need to shovel more taxpayer dollars into it. And I happened to mention this on the last show. I'm just scrolling through Twitter and I see an earnings call from United Health, and they're like, banner year, guys, everything's been great. And so that, like, the disconnect between the marketplace in and of itself and the just this fervor of attempting to throw more cash tax dollars here. Of course, that is inflated. Like, that you are going to get an inflated revenue number when you do that.
And we want to work out. We want it to be cheaper for everyone.
Yeah.
And people are hurting, and so if you just pull these away overnight, then people could be affected by it. And what I've been telling people, I mean, the speaker got a letter from 13 Republicans saying we want some version of this to continue. We've worked on some version of it to continue, and by lowering premiums for everyone, not just the ACA tax credits. And here's the issue. I got asked this yesterday after I talked to the military families. I said, do you think we should negotiate? I said, we can't negotiate with the government closed.
Yeah. Right.
I said, we need to fix the big problem with health insurance. Yeah. There is a big problem with the cost of health insurance, health care in the country, but we're not going to fix it by Friday.
Yeah.
By Friday, they're going to miss another paycheck. That's tomorrow, actually, 31st. They're going to miss a paycheck. They're going to have to go get their prescriptions off. You just go through the whole list of everything that's going to happen for people on the next payday. So I don't know if they're wanting to hold the government shut down till we get health insurance figured out. If they do that, it's going to be shut down for quite a while. Yeah. But I can tell you, they have a willing partner on our side of the aisle to have it. It can't be you just prices keep going up and you subsidize it.
Yeah, you can't do that.
You can't do that. And then it'll go up again. We tried that with college tuition, didn't we?
Right.
Speaking of Northwestern, they have very expensive college tuition. I can tell you that.
This. Yeah.
And so all you're doing is chasing a higher number.
Yeah.
And what we want to do is bring the number down for everybody.
Yeah. It turns out when the backstop is the American taxpayer, things don't suddenly get cheaper.
Prices go up. Yeah.
There's another issue that you're working on. I've heard about, which is near and dear to our hearts here at the Ruthless Variety program.
It's like basically there's three things that keep us motivated.
Yeah.
It's politics, which we've talked about.
Yes.
It's sports.
Yeah.
And then it's gambling.
Yeah.
And
sports and gambling.
And you're hitting two of these from what I hear in this new letter that you're sending to Charlie Baker, the president of the NCAA. In the backdrop of all of this, of course, is this recent scandal that came out of the NBA, with former players involved in this, poker scheme, apparently involved the mafia and also maybe some betting about games or prop bets and things like that. And the NCAA is considering, I guess, letting NCAA athletes bet in these apps.
Professional sports. And so you're right. And so you have just what broke with the NBA last year. You had Ohtani's, last year, the year before Ohtani's interpreter betting on games.
Wild story. Yeah.
And just a wild story there. And so the integrity of the game is in question.
Mm-hmm.
And my understanding with the NBA, a lot of these gambling houses or the people that apps, I guess, is what flagged it because they saw.
Yeah. It's actually a pretty good example
patterns.
of like a well-regulated marketplace actually finds this stuff.
And so my understanding is the NBA found it.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't sure they had enough evidence. The apps came and said, hey, this is going on. And so now it's in the FBI, I guess, has figured it out and is working on it. So we're going to get a briefing from the NBA and make sure that we understand what's going on with that. And then in the midst of this, the NCAA, I guess still trying to look for relevance, has said that their student athletes can gamble on professional sports.
The timing of that, by the way.
Terrible.
And the question is, should they? So we want the NCAA to come in and who made the decision? How did you make the decision? How are you going to control it? I mean, these young people play with each other.
Yeah.
So you're a junior one year and your friend from Alabama goes to the pros the next year, and you're texting back. They text each other back and forth.
Yeah, maybe pull a hamstring in the second quarter.
Yeah, I'm just saying. You don't know that. Hopefully, they wouldn't do that, but it certainly sets that situation up. And now we just started with these young athletes getting paid. Some of them significant amount of money.
Yeah.
We just need to we want to really delve into athletic. I'm a Reds fan. I grew up, Kentucky.
Yep.
One time, Leader McConnell was talking to a bunch of baseball owners, and they talked about sports gaming. It's just when the Supreme Court made the decision, and he got up and I was there. He was talking to all the owners. It was like Jerry Reinsdorf, Bob Castellini from the Reds.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't the general managers. It was, Hal Steinbrenner. It was those guys. So he's talking to him, and he said that we're going to have to deal with sports gambling, but it can't just be professional sports gaming. It's got to include college, because that's my constituency. But what he said was, he goes, we have to look at all of it, because the closest thing, he says, now if people don't know the geography, Cincinnati borders Kentucky. Yeah. I mean, the river is Kentucky, so if you can hit a home run out of the stadium, it lands in Kentucky if it's the river. So he goes, Leader McConnell says, we don't have professional sports in Kentucky. But what he said was, this is a couple years ago, Reds were not playoff team then. He goes, the closest thing we have to a professional team is the Cincinnati Reds.
Closest thing.
And Bob Castellini, come on, give me a break, because everybody took it the way we took it, but the leader didn't take it that. He knew what he was trying to say, but it was the closest thing we have to a professional team is the Cincinnati Reds.
Listen, I'm glad you're talking about this and thinking about it. I know there's also, the whole NIL thing and everything else that you guys have been involved in. We watch this stuff really closely. We're huge sports fans. We like to use the apps to. The Ruthless parlay, for example, very, very important to us.
On all of our NFL teams.
Yeah, exactly.
Who's your NFL team?
Vikings and Colts. Smug is a Broncos guy, and Smash Ashbrook is the Cincinnati Bengals guy.
Yeah.
So
been a rough year.
We all
have
feel
the Titans. I'm in Southern Kentucky. It's 1 hour from Nashville, so you're a
Titans guy.
Yeah, we're struggling.
My Colts crushed you last week.
Absolutely, everybody has. I wouldn't walk away and go, "Well, we beat the Titans."
Well, we've also beat everyone else. So.
Oh, here we go. Let's just turn one. Let's
the problem
turn the
with the
page.
Titans, if they put a bad product on the field, it's like they're not even. It's a lot of 3 and outs, which is frustrating. But then they're going to build a $2 billion stadium right now for them. So hopefully, Nashville's a great city, though.
It is.
I'm an hour from Nashville. I'm in Kentucky, but an hour from Nashville. Nashville's kind of our city that we go to if we're going to go down. Well, I don't go downtown Nashville anymore. I'm about 40 years too old for that. But
you never know.
But when I fly home on a Friday afternoon from D.C., it's full of people going to Nashville
He's
for the
a fun
weekend.
time.
It's amazing.
But the point I was getting to is I do think this question that you're raising with the NCAA is a good one. And I think there's a reason why there aren't player prop bets on college players because of the obvious problems that you have there. The thing, and I know this isn't your jurisdiction, but the thing that I would urge as you talk to colleagues that are looking at this particular problem is the illegal gaming markets, the Bovadas, the international stuff that do offer. I mean, you can get a player prop bet on a high school game.
Really? I didn't even know that.
Yeah. I mean, it's like really insidious stuff.
Isn't that crazy?
And because this is all sort of new, we have not gotten to a point where they're enforcing that kind of thing. And I think what it does is actually reduce the perception of sports, the integrity of sports, gaming, the integrity of gaming, because I think they kind of got it right in terms of how the leagues are dealing with this with their partners.
Right.
But anytime you see somebody doing an illegal gaming app on player prop bets, this is where the problem is, right? Next thing you know, you got the Gambinos involved. And it's that I think Congress really needs to look into.
When I started on the Reds and went off on Leader McConnell. So I got off the thing. But I remember Pete Rose, he only bet on his team to win.
Yeah.
I mean, that only means he's going to play harder.
This is a Cincinnati Reds fan.
He's only got, that was my argument I used to make, and God rest his soul
it's
now.
It's like Ashbrook's here.
But if you bet on your team to win, aren't you going to try harder? I mean, have you play harder?
Yeah.
But I learned from people who gamble on is
what he didn't bet on.
What he didn't bet on.
Yeah.
So if he's betting $10,000 on this game but nothing on the next game,
then he
knows there's a pitcher not pitching well, as a player got a sore foot. That's what you don't know.
Yeah.
And so I agree that you can't have athletes, particularly people that communicate as they do, even though college player's not on a pro team, but if his best friend's on the pro team.
Yeah, you never know.
And you're seeing him betting, then you're going, well, maybe we should bet that way.
If there's one guy that I trust to look into it is you, because you're a sports fan, you have tons of integrity, and you actually try to find the facts, not just get your name next to the league letters in the newspaper.
We're trying to get that. That's why we want to do a briefing with staff with the NBA and see what they did and what they knew, and then see where that goes.
Yeah, that's great. Before we leave,
Oh, yeah. You want to see we got Moonlight Barbecue from Owensboro, which I'm sure you've had that.
Of course, yeah.
Ski from Greene County, ball of ski. You get a slaw burger. We couldn't transfer slaw burgers up here, unfortunately.
This is like, so for those of you who are not Kentuckians, there's something about this particular brand of soda. It's Ski, and then there's one out east as well.
L8. Yep. Yeah, L8 over and then you got, so I'm kind of a fundamentalist Christian, so I don't drink my bourbon, I eat it. So we have Pappy Van Winkle bourbon balls instead of a ball of bourbon. We brought you bourbon candy, so you can eat it because it cooks out.
Yeah.
But
we'll do the drinking for you.
But let me let you know, for bourbon balls, actually don't cook them. So I learned that before. I learned that. Yeah, you got to be careful.
Learned that one the hard way?
Yeah, I didn't need the sugar got me before the bourbon. I can tell you that. And then we have Energy and Commerce cups for you. So we got a great barbecue tradition in Owensboro, as you know.
Yeah,
wonderful
totally.
barbecue restaurant.
Wonderful.
This one is actually from the Moonlight. And then we got, we have mint juleps.
Oh, nice.
Mint julep bourbon balls.
Oh, this is fantastic.
You'll enjoy them with your shot of bourbon.
Well, you're
or
a
your
gentleman.
glass of bourbon.
Thank you for all this, and keep up the good work. I hope everything's opened up and you can get.
We do too, because
normal.
what the president's doing, we're in a colossal battle with China on AI. Yeah. We have to generate the energy. We have to win this battle. Yeah. And whoever controls AI is like the dollar. I'll just leave you with one. It's like the dollar being the world currency. Yeah. It's like who does AI?
Who controls the future?
And
of the
I remember
internet.
talking to Elon right before he was no longer coming to D.C. as much.
Yeah.
And he said, this is kind of like losing the
Space
Eastern
race.
Europe to the Soviet Union,
Yeah.
or Western Europe. And he says, well, I look at it as like we're in Rome and the barbarians are at the gate.
Yeah.
And Caesar hollers to his military, I need my army. And they go, we'll be there in 3 to 5 years. We've got to go get some permits.
Yeah,
that's what we have to fight.
Yeah.
And it is that serious. And it's something that I'm dedicated to doing. And my team is.
Yeah.
I have wonderful committee members.
You do.
And we have some people across the aisle we think we can work with, and we'll make that happen.
Well, fantastic. If you're looking for somebody who's actually getting things done and focused on the right things, Chairman Guthrie's your man. Thanks so much for joining us.
What a pleasure. Yeah, thank you.
Fellas, what a great interview. And I mean, the guests and the quality of the guests just continue to roll right here on the Ruthless Variety program.
Yeah, I mean, you look, not everybody knows who Brett Guthrie is, probably, that you're listening to this, but it's one of the people who actually make policy. There's an awful lot of people in Congress, Republican and Democrat, where it's like, hey, look at me, TikTok video, or I'm like trying to sell a book, or like, here's me saying something controversial on primetime, or like radio. This guy actually puts in the work, and he spends an awful lot of time trying to get it right. So I respect that. His staff does too. I mean, they really dig in, which is why we wanted to ask him about this stuff. We saw a letter that went out to the NBA, letter that went out to the NCAA, and he was pretty candid, I thought. I mean, he was like, look, I just want to hear. I want to hear how they're justifying the decisions that were made, which I think is eminently fair. We obviously have our opinions on that as expressed in the interview, but look, he's just a good dude. And I'm very glad that he came in here. Our endeavor here on Ruthless is to not just get you the most entertainment value, but a little bit of information that you can't get anywhere else. And I think we did that here today. So remember our question of the day, now that Democrats can't answer any questions from journalists. What is a question that's simple enough for a Democrat to actually answer? You're going to have some good ideas on that when you like and subscribe to the Ruthless Variety program. We read every single one of them and get back to you the very next episode, which in this case is on Tuesday, and we look forward to joining you then. A reminder, you got to go to zbiotics.com/ruthless and get 15% off of your checkout when you use the code Ruthless. With that, fellas, I think we did it.
I think so. Absolute banger of an episode. Gentlemen, thank you so much to Chairman Guthrie, and thank you, dear listener. Remember, if you have not yet, go to the YouTube, hit that subscribe because it's more fun in video. So until next time, minions, keep the faith, hold the line, and own the libs. We'll see you Tuesday. Stay ruthless.